Hello, today we are going to talk about the historical and social development of mass media. In this lesson specifically, we'll talk about print media such as books, newspapers, and magazines. As before, you can hit the pause button at any time to slow the pace of the slides. In our culture, print is king, or at least it has been, as much of that prominence is due to how we have historically held the written word in such high regard. Take, for example, the three major Western religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. All three are based on passing down the word in a book form, and there are plenty of other examples of this too. Consider the judge, who is more likely to pay attention to the written law than to any cultural proverbs. Or the professor who would rather you cite in your paper a written published source over a personal conversation you may have had with an expert on the topic. A media writer, the late Neil Postman, said that the truth must appear in proper clothing or it is not acknowledged. Throughout much of our cultural history, the written word or print were the proper clothing. Think about it for a moment. We have often talk about books that have changed the world. These books are the stores of knowledge and stories that do not go away. Unlike more modern media, which we view as more temporary, print has a much more lasting truth. Please look at some of these book titles here. Have any of these books changed the world? If any of them have, how so? Do they still change the world today? Think about a book that may have influenced your life. Perhaps one of the most interesting aspects of the history of the written word and print is the vast societal changes that occurred because of the printing press. Copying books by hand by scribes and monks was such a labor-intensive, slow, and inefficient process before the printing press that very few books were made, and they were only available to the wealthy. That meant that only the wealthy could have access to information, especially from faraway places. Only the wealthy could share ideas, and only the wealthy could participate in the marketplace of ideas. The development of the printing press made mass-producing books and other printed material much easier for others to access. Better access to printed words resulted in more people learning to read, and that increase in literacy led to a more variety of ideas that were shared around the world. It's no coincidence that the period right after the development of the printing press was called the Enlightenment. Even in modern times, when groups or governments try to oppress certain groups of people, one of the strategies usually is to suppress literacy, to stop the media. Why? Because reading creates knowledge, and knowledge creates power.